I think it illustrates the thing quite well. Take Mike and Rita, married couple. In 2006, they have a home, fair market value of $270,000, mortgage of $250,000, $40,000 in credit card debt. I'd say that's not an uncommon set of facts for a couple in those days. Now take their situation today, 2 years, 3 years later. The market value on the home has gone down to $150,000. The mortgage is still at $250,000, and their credit card debt is stuck up from $40,000 to $75,000 because either one of them's lost a job or they've fallen behind on payments. One reason or another, they've bumped up their credit card debt, and they're in a pinch. These people are in a financial crisis in my mind. But it depends how you define crisis. If they're still working, making money, and able to pay their bills, that's one level of crisis. If they're unemployed, that's a whole different story. If you're unemployed, you have to find income. Until you find income, you have no long-term solution to anything. Yeah, you can get rid of your debt, you can file bankruptcy, you can discharge your debt. Doesn't even matter. They can't collect from you because you can't collect if the person has no money. So those people have to find a job somehow. There's not much else you can really say about that situation. But let's take Mike and Rita, for example, and let's assume they're still working. Let's assume their net after-tax dollars are $7,000 a month. Their mortgage payment on their $250,000 mortgage with taxes and insurance comes on a 6% mortgage would be $2,300 a month, or 6 or 7% mortgage. Credit card payments, I took 3.5% of their $75,000 worth of debt. That's a $2,600 a month credit card payment. And then I just kind of said some quick assumptions. Let's assume utilities are $500 a month, food is $1,000, auto expense on 2 cars, gas, insurance, and everything else, $1,400. In that situation, they're negative $825 a month. So they're going further into debt as time goes on. Now, I'm going to give you a different set of assumptions. Let's assume Mike and Rita were able to get out from under their $250,000 mortgage and get rid of their credit card debt. That's what I consider to be financial crisis management and figuring out how to achieve that goal. But what I say to people is, if you're in a subdivision and you love your house that has the $250,000 mortgage that used to be worth $270,000 and it's now worth $150,000, there's 7 other houses in the subdivision that you could buy for $150,000 that used to be worth $270,000 that are just as nice of a house as you've been living in the last 4, 5, or 10 years. And the thing that I try and say to people is, the house is not the home. The house is a valued asset, but it's not your life. The home is the good memories, the relationships, the pictures, the kids, and everything else, and the home is transferable to new locations. The house is just an asset. And I say to you, if you could find a way to get into an equivalent house for $150,000 on a go-forward basis, rather than stay in your $250,000 mortgage for a house that's worth $150,000, let's explore it. Because when you explore it with the 2 assumptions, if I get into a new house at $150,000 and I get rid of the credit card debt, where am I on a go-forward basis? This is the old budget on the left. The new budget is I got $7,000 of income, still the same income. I have a mortgage payment that's now $1,525. That's a $150,000 mortgage with taxes and insurance. I have 0 credit card payments. I have the same utilities, food, and auto expense. At the end of the month, I'm plus $2,500. Then in my budget, I say, let's take $1,000 off for what I call quality of life. Because in my mind, over here, they don't have any quality of life when they're negative $825. And every penny they spend, they're $825 beyond their expense, and they're not really having any fun. So I said, let's take $1,000 off. That leaves you $1,575 a month to save. That's the difference between getting rid of the extent that you're underwater in your mortgage and getting rid of the credit card debt. And then I say, let's project where that leaves you 10 years and 20 years. Because my big focus is this. Most of the people I see are somewhere between your age and Fred's age. And that's, I mean, I think I fall right in there with you. It's usually between, I'm talking to people, realistically, I'm talking to people between, I would say, early 40s to, I met with a guy yesterday, 70, real estate broker. Very successfully for years and years, horribly underwater and everything now, and no income coming in because there are no real estate deals. And what I say to them is, we got to look to the next 20 years. I'm 55. I don't have 40 years to recoup the loss that I've suffered in the real estate value. I only have, I think I got 20, at least 20 productive years. And it depends, but it could be 10, it could be 15. It depends on your health and things. But look at the difference. Today, Mike and Rita have a house worth $150,000, they have a $250,000 mortgage, and they have a $75,000 credit card debt. Their negative net worth is $175,000. This assumes they continue forward and do nothing. They just manage to try and take their money and pay off their debts. They do what the old rules were. You pay your debts. That's what we were raised to do. Those were the old rules. In 10 years, I just took some assumptions. I'm assuming real estate values in Michigan for the next 10 years will go up 1% a year, and for years 11 through 20, I gave it a 2% bump. I don't see our 5 and 10% appreciation coming. I could be wrong, but I'm saying in 10 years the house is worth $165,000. The mortgage is $214,000. The credit card debt, there's an assumption here, because if you paid off the credit, if you stopped using those credit cards and you were making that $26.25 a month payment, you would pay off the credit card debt in 44 months, even at 25% interest. But my assumption for Mike and Rita is if they're negative $825 a month right now, they're not going to be able to pay off the credit card debt. They're going to be struggling, and any time they have a little extra income and they pay it down, they're going to need to use it when they need to buy clothes or something because there's nothing in the budget for that. So I said, realistically, their credit card debt in 10 years will still probably be $60,000. Their net worth will be a negative $109,000. I then go and take it out to 20 years. The house will be worth $198,000. The mortgage will be down to $143,000. Let's assume the credit card debt's down to $25,000. Their net worth is $30,000. That's where they are in 20 years, by struggling to make the payments and not doing so. Now I changed it, and I went to my assumption. If you could get out of that house and into a new house for $150,000, which is the same house, the same size, the same location, the same value as the house you're living in that you owe $250,000, and you get rid of the credit card debt, and you then save that $1,575 a month in a tax-deferred account, in an IRA, Roth IRA, or in a 401k, wherever you put it, at 6% earnings. In 10 years, your house will same numbers in your house. It's going to be worth $165,000, but your savings in the retirement account will be at $258,000. The mortgage will only be $128,000 because it's a $150,000 mortgage, and your net worth will be nearly $300,000. In 20 years, the house is the same $198,000. The savings has grown to $727,000. The mortgage balance is down to $85,000. The credit card debt's long gone, and you got $840,000 worth of net worth. That's just leaving the income constant, and it's not factoring in inflation. The difference, though, is awfully big. The difference is $29,000 versus $840,000.